That forever. On the northwest side of town, in this little shopping center on Anderson Lane, there was a spot that was pretty popular with the teens. A frozen yogurt shop called I Can't Believe It's Yogurt. It wasn't anything fancy, just a bright, cheerful little place where kids would gather after school or on the weekends. It was a place for first dates, for friends just catching up. A perfectly normal place for a perfectly normal Friday night. But the normalcy of that night was about to get snatched away and replaced with a horror that would haunt the city for decades. Inside that shop were 4 young girls, all with their whole lives ahead of them, all with dreams they'd never get to live out. Jennifer Harbison, she was 17, and her best friend Eliza Thomas, also 17, were working the closing shift. Jennifer was just a sweetheart, an easygoing girl with a big, warm smile that could light up a room. Eliza was her ride or die, the friend you knew would always have your back. They were just trying to get through the end of their shift, probably tired and ready to get home, not knowing they were living the last moments of their lives. Jennifer's younger sister, Sarah Harbison, was there too. Sarah was just 15, and she brought her friend, Amy Ayers, who is only 13 years old. You could just picture them, right? 4 girls, giggling and sharing secrets, maybe singing along to some music on the radio, just being teenagers. Amy was the youngest of the bunch, with a bright spirit that was just starting to shine. Sarah was a little sister who adored her big sis, and Jennifer was the big sister who looked out for everyone. They were a quartet of youth, full of light, and they had no idea that they were about to get swallowed up by the darkness. The shop was supposed to close around 11 p.m., but the girls were still in there. Maybe they were running a little late on cleaning up. Maybe they were just talking. Nobody really knows for sure. But at some point after 11 p.m., an unknown person, or maybe a few people, came into that shop. It wasn't a smash and grab robbery, because nothing of real value was taken. It was something else entirely. What followed was an act of pure, unadulterated evil. The girls were all bound, tied up using their own clothes and shoelaces. They were then moved to a back storage room and shot in the head, point blank. It wasn't a crime of passion. It was a cold, brutal, and calculated execution. Before the killers left, they set the back room on fire. It was a deliberate act, a twisted attempt to burn away the evidence and cover up the heinous act. But the fire couldn't hide the truth of what had happened there. The fire alarm went off just before midnight, and the Austin Fire Department was dispatched. They arrived to find smoke pouring out of the building. As they battled the flames, they made the gruesome discovery. The charred bodies of the 4 girls were found piled up in the storage room. The fire had complicated everything, leaving a chaotic scene of soot and water, but it hadn't destroyed the evidence of the violence that came before it. The next morning, the city woke up to a nightmare. The news hit Austin like a ton of bricks. 4 beautiful girls, murdered, just like that. The whole town was in shock. That feeling of safety, that feeling that nothing bad could happen here, was just gone. A deep, cold fear settled over the community. Parents started watching their kids closer, looking at every stranger with a little more suspicion. Everyone wanted to know who could do such a monstrous thing. The Austin Police Department was immediately overwhelmed. The crime was so heinous that it called for all hands on deck. A massive task force was formed, pulling in detectives from the FBI and the ATF. The pressure from the public, from the media, from the families of those girls was unimaginable. People were demanding answers, and the police had nothing to give them. The silence from that burnt-out shop was deafening, and every single clue was buried under a pile of soot and pain. The first few days were a desperate scramble. They got thousands of tips, but almost all of them were dead ends. They were chasing down every single lead, no matter how small. They even looked into a known serial killer, Kenneth McDuff, who was in the area at the time, but nothing stuck. They were running on fumes and hope, with no clear motive and no solid suspects. The case felt like it was going nowhere, but then a new lead dropped, and it was the one that would consume the investigation for years. A couple of days after the murders, a 16-year-old boy named Maurice Pierce was arrested at a mall not far from the crime scene. He was carrying a .22 caliber pistol, the same kind of gun that was believed to have been used in the murders. When the cops questioned him, Maurice didn't confess, but he did give up some names. He told them he was with 3 of his friends that night: Robert Springsteen, Michael Scott, and Forrest Wellborn. Just like that, the police had their first real suspects. They brought the 4 boys in for questioning. But here's the thing, They didn't have the hard evidence. No fingerprints, no hair, nothing that put any of these boys at the scene of the crime. So, after a little while, the cops had to let them go. The investigation, which had started with a furious burst of energy, stalled. The case, for all its public outrage, went cold. It became a permanent, open wound for Austin, a stack of files in a dusty evidence room. For the families of Jennifer, Sarah, Eliza, and Amy, their hope for justice began to fade with each passing year. The city of Austin, that laid-back, keep-it-weird town, was never the same after that night. That holiday season in 1991 didn't have the same sparkle. You could just feel the unease in the air. People were looking at their neighbors sideways, and parents weren't letting their kids stay out late anymore. The murders had ripped the heart right out of the community, and for a long time, all anyone could talk about was the 4 girls. The Austin Police Department, though they were still on the hook, the pressure was immense. Every day that went by without an arrest was another day the families were suffering, and the public was getting more and more frustrated. They'd formed this massive task force, and those detectives were working around the clock, chasing down every single lead, no matter how small. They had the full support of the community at first, but with no arrests, that support started to turn into anger. Folks were demanding answers, and the police had nothing to give them. Now, you know I told you about that first big lead they got? The one that came from a 16-year-old named Maurice Pierce? Well, after they released him and his 3 friends, Robert Springsteen, Michael Scott, and Forrest Wellborn, the investigation got laser-focused on them. These were the only real suspects they had, the only names that had come up with any kind of weight. The detectives were sure that one of these boys had to be involved. They kept a close eye on them, trying to find anything that would link them to the crime. They brought them in a second time for more intense questioning. They wanted to know everything about what they were doing that night. They pressed them, trying to find a crack in their stories. They even did polygraph tests, or what they called lie detector tests, but you know how those can be. They're not always accurate, and they're not admissible in court. The boys, all of them, maintained that they had nothing to do with it. Their stories, while maybe a little shaky on some details, mostly held up. They all said they were together at the time of the murders, but they weren't anywhere near that yogurt shop. The police were stuck. They had these 4 names, but they had no physical proof, no fingerprints, no hair. The fire had done a real good job of destroying a lot of the potential evidence. The only physical evidence they did have, a piece of male DNA from one of the victims, didn't match any of the 4 boys. The detectives were so sure these were the guys, but their hands were tied. They couldn't get a judge to sign off on an arrest warrant because a prosecutor would laugh them right out of the room. You can't just arrest someone on a hunch, especially for a crime this serious. And so the investigation hit a dead end. For all the pressure, for all the thousands of tips, for all the hours of interviews, the case just went cold. The files were put away. The task force was disbanded. It became a cold case file, a thick stack of papers and photographs that sat in a box in the back of the police station. The city had no justice. The families of Jennifer, Sarah, Eliza, and Amy were left with nothing but pain and an empty feeling that this case, their case, might never be solved. The 4 boys, though they were suspects, went back to their lives. The fear in the community slowly started to ease, but the ghost of what happened that night never truly left Austin. And for a long, painful time, everyone thought that was the end of the story. Austin, Texas, 1999. The city had changed, but some things never left you. The ghost of those 4 girls still hung over the town like a dark cloud. It had been nearly 8 years since the murders, and for the Austin Police Department, this case was a stain on their record, a failure that just wouldn't go away. So a new team of detectives, fresh eyes on an old case, decided to open up that dusty box of files and take another look. They were hoping that maybe, just maybe, the original suspects would finally be ready to talk. The detectives put their focus on 2 of the boys, who were now men in their late 20s, Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott. They brought them in separately for questioning. This wasn't no short little interview this time, nah. These were long, grueling sessions that lasted for hours and hours, often with no lawyers present. The detectives used every single trick they had. They'd lie to the men, saying they had DNA evidence that tied them to the crime. They'd tell them that their friends had already confessed and had put all the blame on them. They were basically painting a picture of what they wanted to hear and waiting for someone to finish it. It was a masterclass in psychological pressure. Robert Springsteen was the first to finally break, but his confession was a whole lot of mess, y'all. It was all over the place, full of contradictions. He'd start talking and then change his story halfway through. He told the detectives that he and his friends were at the yogurt shop and that Michael Scott was the one who tied the girls up and shot them. He even drew a crude map of the crime scene, a little shaky drawing that, for the detectives, felt like gold. The thing is, a lot of the details he gave didn't match up with the facts of the crime. He mentioned a gun that was never found and a timeline of events that didn't make any sense. But the police, they were so hungry for a confession, they overlooked all of that. They finally had a story. Next up was Michael Scott. The police went hard on him, telling him what Springsteen had said, how he was throwing him right under the bus. At first, Scott kept saying, "Nah, man, I wasn't there." But after hours of relentless questioning, with no sleep, no lawyer, and all that pressure, he eventually broke down too. His confession was just as flimsy as Springsteen's. He tried to downplay his role, saying he was just a witness, too scared to do anything, but he also gave the police some details about the crime scene. Details that, it turns out, the police had been feeding him the whole time. He described the type of guns used and the location of the bodies, but it was information that the detectives had already told him during the interrogation. This is what they call confession contamination, and it was a red flag the size of Texas. With these two confessions in hand, the Austin Police Department felt like they had finally done it. They announced the arrests, and the city, which had been holding its breath for years, let out a collective sigh of relief. The families of the victims finally had a glimmer of hope that justice was on its way. The prosecution's case against Springsteen and Scott was built entirely on those confessions. They played the videotape for the jury and argued that only the killer could have given those details. But the defense lawyers were ready. They argued that those confessions were pure fiction, the result of intense police coercion. They brought in experts on false confessions who explained how detectives could manipulate people into saying anything. They pointed out every single contradiction in those stories and reminded the jury that there was not a single piece of physical evidence, no DNA, no fingerprints, no nothing, connecting these men to the crime scene. It was all based on their words, and the defense argued those words were not their own. But the jury was tired. The city was tired. They wanted this whole nightmare to be over. Despite the defense's strong arguments, the jury delivered a guilty verdict. Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott were sentenced to life in prison. For a brief moment, it felt like a win. The public got their closure, the families had their justice, and the Austin Police Department could finally close the book on their biggest failure. But that closure was built on a lie, and that lie was about to get exposed in a way no one saw coming. Now, for a minute there, it felt like the book was closed on this whole thing. Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott were behind bars, and the city of Austin could finally breathe. But just because you got a verdict, don't mean you got the truth. And in the early 2000s, a new kind of technology started to emerge that was about to blow this whole case wide open. This new science was called YSTR DNA testing. You know how regular DNA testing gives you a full profile? Well, YSTR testing is more specific. It can identify a male DNA profile from a mixed sample, which was exactly what they needed for a crime like this. The defense teams for Springsteen and Scott, they heard about this new tech, and they saw a chance to get a real answer. They filed a motion to have a piece of old evidence, a vaginal swab from one of the victims, retested using this new method. That swab had been sitting in a police evidence locker for over a decade, just a silent witness waiting to be heard. The swab was sent off to a state-of-the-art lab, and everybody held their breath. When the results came back, they were so stunning, they shook the whole legal system to its core. The DNA from that swab did not, I repeat, did not match Robert Springsteen or Michael Scott. The DNA belonged to an unknown male, a ghost in the machine, a man who was at that crime scene, who was involved in this brutal night, but was not among the men who had been convicted. The confessions, which were the only thing that put those men away, now looked like a big fat lie. The convictions, which had brought so much closure, were now seen for what they were, flawed, but tragic mistake. The city had convicted the wrong men, and the real killer was still walking free. In 2009, with this new DNA evidence in hand, the convictions of both men were overturned. The judge ruled that the DNA evidence was too powerful to ignore, and that they deserved a new trial. The prosecutors, knowing they had no case without those confessions, were left with nothing, had no choice but to dismiss the charges. And just like that, after spending years behind bars for a crime they almost certainly didn't commit, Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott were released from prison. They walked out into the sunlight, their lives forever changed by a flawed justice system. For them, it was the end of a long, painful nightmare. But for the families of Jennifer, Sarah, Eliza, and Amy, it was a cruel reopening of a wound they thought had healed. The case was cold again, but this time the Austin Police Department had a new, powerful lead, an anonymous DNA profile of the real killer. They had a name, but it was just a string of letters and numbers. They had the ghost, but they didn't have the man. The search began all over again, with the hope that this new evidence, this new truth, would finally lead them to the person responsible. So there they were. The city was back at square one, but with a brand new lead, the DNA profile of an anonymous male. This was a powerful tool, a silent witness from the crime scene itself. But there was a problem. They ran that DNA through the National Criminal Database, the one called CODIS, and it came back empty. The killer wasn't a known felon, at least not one that was in the system. The case once again hit a brick wall. The years kept rolling by, and the yogurt shop murders became one of the most haunting cold cases in Texas history. But you know how technology is. It don't ever stand still. As the years went on, a new kind of science started changing the game: forensic genealogy. This wasn't about finding a direct match in a criminal database. This was about finding a family member. The detectives, working with genealogists, took that anonymous DNA profile and uploaded it to a public DNA database, the kind that people use to find out about their family history. It was a painstaking, long, and tedious process. They were building the family tree, going back through generations, looking at distant cousins, and trying to trace a family line that would lead them to a man who would have been in Austin back in 1991. And after months of hard work, of building those family branches and connecting the dots, it finally happened. A potential lead emerged. They had a new person of interest. They believed they had found a man who fit the profile. He was an adult. He lived in the Austin area back then, and he was connected to the DNA. This was it. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. A final chance to put a name to the DNA, to put a face to the monster that had committed such a heinous crime. The police started a final investigation. They put this person of interest under surveillance, watching his every move. They needed to get a DNA sample from him, a new one they could compare directly to the sample from the crime scene. They waited for an opportunity to collect a discarded item, a coffee cup, a cigarette butt, anything he threw away that would have his DNA on it. They sent it to the lab, hoping and praying for a definitive answer. And the results came back. They had a match, an undeniable match. After decades of false starts, of two men going to prison for a crime they didn't commit, it seemed like they finally had their man. The killer's identity was finally known. But here's the sad, cold truth. That's not how the story ends. See, due to some real complex legal and privacy issues, the FBI, who held the anonymous DNA profile, would not release the name they had a match for. The legal battles stalled the investigation all over again. And in a final, heartbreaking twist, more advanced DNA testing later on showed that the samples weren't an exact match after all. That lead went cold, just like that. The case to this very day is officially unsolved. The DNA profile of the real killer is still out there, a ghost in the machine, a haunting whisper of a crime that refuses to be put to rest. The Austin yogurt shop murders became a landmark case, not just for the evil of the crime, but for the lessons it taught us. It's a powerful argument for the unreliability of coerced confessions, a cautionary tale that they teach in law schools to this day. The exoneration of Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott serves as a stark warning about the dangers of tunnel vision and the importance of scientific evidence. It's a grim reminder that the search for truth must never end, even when the answers we get are hard to accept. But for the families of Jennifer, Sarah, Eliza, and Amy, This wasn't just some legal case study. This was a personal tragedy that spanned decades, a long, painful journey for a form of justice that was delayed and ultimately never fully served. They've lived through so much: the initial horror, the frustration of a stalled investigation, the relief of convictions, the shock of exoneration, and now the lasting emptiness of an unsolved crime. The case is not closed. The murderer has not been identified, but the memory of those 4 victims, Jennifer Harbison, Sarah Harbison, Eliza Thomas, and Amy Ayers, will forever live on. Their faces, their names, and their stories are a permanent reminder of a crime that changed Austin forever. And in their names, we have learned that the search for truth must never, ever end, even when the answers we seek may never be found.
These are 10 jaw-dropping celebrities' transformations you won't believe. From stunning glow-ups to total reinventions, these stars have changed so much that you'll do a double take. Stick around to the end because some of these transformations will shock you. Now, let's kick things off with number 10. Coming in at number 10 is the one and only Adele. Known for her powerful voice and chart-topping hits, Adele shocked the world when she revealed her dramatic weight loss. Adele reportedly lost around 100 pounds, and she's credited a healthier lifestyle and exercise routine for the change. But what's even more incredible is how she's embraced her transformation, not just physically, but emotionally. Adele has been open about her journey, saying it's about more than looks, it's about feeling stronger and more confident. This transformation is a true inspiration for fans around the world, and we can't wait to see what the next chapter holds for her. Coming in at number 9 is Zac Efron. We first knew him as the charming Troy Bolton in High School Musical, with his boyish looks and teen idol appeal. But Zac has since transformed into a Hollywood action star, and his journey is nothing short of remarkable. His most dramatic change came with his 2017 role in Baywatch, where he completely reshaped his physique, going from slim and youthful to a muscular, chiseled hero. Zac worked tirelessly, combining intense workouts with a strict diet to achieve his ripped body, shedding the teen heartthrob label in the process. Beyond just physical changes, Zac's transformation has signaled his growth as an actor, taking on more serious and action-packed roles. He's been open about the mental and physical challenges of maintaining such a body, which further highlights his dedication. Whether he's bulking up for a movie or embracing a more rugged, natural look in his travel series Down to Earth, Zac's transformation proves that he's here to stay as a versatile, evolving talent in Hollywood. At number 8 is Jonah Hill. Jonah's journey has been nothing short of a roller coaster, particularly when it comes to his weight and self-image. When we first got to know him in iconic comedies like Superbad and 21 Jump Street, Jonah was known for his lovable comedic charm and his heavier frame. But as his career evolved, so did his appearance. Over the years, Jonah underwent several dramatic weight transformations, often dropping pounds for more serious roles and then fluctuating again. His transformation wasn't just physical, it's been deeply personal. Jonah has spoken openly about his struggles with body image and the pressures of Hollywood, a town where appearances are constantly scrutinized. Through it all, Jonah has embraced a message of self-acceptance, focusing less on the scale and more on loving who he is, inside and out. His ability to bounce between comedic and serious roles, all while navigating this journey of self-love, shows that Jonah is more than just a funny guy. He's an inspiration. Whether slim or stocky, Jonah Hill reminds us that real confidence comes from embracing yourself at every stage of the journey. Number 7, we have Miley Cyrus. Miley's transformation is one of the most talked about in the entertainment world. From her innocent beginnings as Disney's Hannah Montana, where she played the bubbly pop star with a double life, to the bold, edgy performer we see today, Miley's journey has been nothing short of remarkable. She's gone from wearing a blonde wig and singing catchy teen anthems to shaving her head, embracing provocative fashion, and unapologetically pushing boundaries. Her transformation isn't just about her style, though. It's deeply tied to her journey of self-discovery and authenticity. Miley has always been vocal about breaking free from the Disney star mold and finding her own voice, both musically and personally. Her evolution, from pop princess to rebellious rocker, and now, a more grounded, eclectic artist, shows her fearless approach to self-expression. She's experimented with different genres, looks, and attitudes, always keeping fans on their toes. Miley's transformation reflects her ongoing quest to be true to herself, no matter what the public thinks. Whether she's swinging from a wrecking ball or advocating for important causes, Miley's evolution proves that she's not afraid to reinvent herself again and again. At number 6, Matthew McConaughey. When it comes to commitment, Matthew McConaughey is in a league of his own. This Oscar-winning actor has undergone some of the most extreme physical transformations for his roles, and his dedication to his craft is truly inspiring. Whether he's shedding pounds or packing on muscle, Matthew's willingness to push his body to the limits is what makes him stand out in Hollywood. One of his most notable transformations came with his role in Dallas Buyers Club, where he dropped a staggering amount of weight, nearly 50 pounds, to portray Ron Woodroof, a man battling AIDS. Matthew's gaunt appearance in the film shocked audiences, but it earned him critical acclaim and ultimately an Academy Award. It wasn't just about looking the part. Matthew fully immersed himself into the character, showing his deep commitment to authenticity. On the other hand, he's also bulked up for more physically demanding roles, like in Magic Mike and Reign of Fire, where he showcased a ripped physique that had everyone talking. Whether he's losing weight or gaining muscle, McConaughey approaches every transformation with intense discipline, using a strict diet and rigorous training regimen. For him, it's not just about looking good for the role, it's about fully embodying the character, and his physical dedication is just one part of the larger process. Matthew McConaughey's ability to adapt his body for his roles is a testament to his passion for acting and his dedication to delivering unforgettable performances. He's truly the definition of commitment in Hollywood. Halfway through at number 5, Khloe Kardashian. Khloe's transformation has been nothing short of incredible, and it's not just her appearance that's changed. Her whole outlook on life and fitness has undergone a major shift. Over the years, Khloe has gone from being labeled as the different Kardashian to becoming a fitness icon and an inspiration to millions. Her fitness journey has been marked by hard work, dedication, and a focus on personal empowerment. Khloe has openly shared her struggles with body image and the public scrutiny that comes with being in the spotlight. For a long time, she dealt with constant comparisons to her sisters, but instead of letting the negativity bring her down, she channeled it into something positive. Her intense workout routines and commitment to a healthier lifestyle have not only transformed her physically, but also mentally, boosting her confidence and self-esteem. With her show revenge body, Khloe has made it clear that her transformation is about more than just aesthetics. It's about taking control of your life and embracing the power of hard work. She's shown that with determination and effort, anyone can overcome their insecurities and achieve their goals. Khloe's journey has inspired countless fans to start their own fitness transformations, making her an advocate for self-love and empowerment. From her fitness routines to her evolving style, Khloe continues to show the world that hard work really does pay off, and that transformation is as much about inner strength as it is about outward appearance. At number 4 is Christian Bale. When it comes to method acting, few actors take it to the extremes that Christian Bale does. Known for his incredible dedication to his craft, Bale's transformations for various roles have left audiences both amazed and shocked. He has a reputation for undergoing drastic physical changes, whether it's shedding pounds or bulking up, and each transformation showcases his relentless commitment to embodying his characters fully. One of his most infamous transformations occurred for his role in The Machinist, where Bale lost a staggering 63 pounds to play Trevor, an insomniac factory worker. He reportedly consumed just an apple and a can of tuna each day, pushing the limits of his body and health in pursuit of authenticity. The result was a hauntingly emaciated figure that left viewers in disbelief and showcased the extreme lengths he would go to for a role. Just a few years later, Bale bulked up dramatically to play the charismatic and ruthless Dick Cheney in Vice, gaining nearly 100 pounds and adopting a completely different physique. The transformation was so impressive that it earned him an Academy Award nomination. Bale's ability to shift from gaunt to muscular in such a short time illustrates not just his physical versatility, but also his sheer determination to dive deep into the psyche of each character. Christian Bale's commitment to method acting goes beyond just physical appearances. It's about the emotional depth he brings to his roles. His shocking transformations serve as a testament to his belief that an actor should become the character they portray. This level of dedication is rare in Hollywood and has earned him a reputation as one of the most talented and versatile actors of his generation. Bale's willingness to undergo extreme changes for the sake of his art sets a high bar for aspiring actors everywhere. At number 3, we have Demi Lovato. Demi's journey has been a powerful and inspiring one, marked by openness about her struggles with body image and mental health. From her early days as a Disney star to her evolution into a celebrated pop icon, Demi has navigated a tumultuous path that many can relate to. Throughout it all, she has embraced her transformation as a testament to resilience and self-love, making her a role model for countless fans. Demi has candidly shared her battles with eating disorders, depression, and anxiety, bravely discussing the impact these challenges have had on her life and career. Rather than shying away from the conversation, she has used her platform to raise awareness about mental health issues, encouraging others to seek help and prioritize their well-being. This willingness to speak out has not only fostered a sense of community among her fans, but has also helped destigmatize these important topics. Her physical transformation has also been significant, as Demi has fluctuated in weight and appearance throughout her career. Instead of conforming to society's standards, she has focused on embracing her body at every stage, promoting the idea that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. Demi's commitment to self-acceptance has inspired many to embrace their own journeys, regardless of societal pressures. With each new album and public appearance, Demi continues to showcase her evolution, demonstrating that true strength lies in vulnerability. Her message of self-love and resilience is more powerful than ever, proving that transformation is not just about physical changes, but also about finding peace within oneself. As she forges ahead on her path of healing and growth, Demi Lovato remains a beacon of hope for anyone facing their own battles. Coming in at number 2, Rebel Wilson. Rebel's transformation has been nothing short of inspirational, as she has not only embraced a healthier lifestyle but has done so while maintaining her signature sense of humor. Known for her hilarious roles in movies like Pitch Perfect and Bridesmaids, Rebel has always been a fan favorite, but her recent journey toward better health has added a new layer to her already vibrant persona. Rebel decided to prioritize her health and well-being in 2020, embarking on what she called her Year of Health. This decision marked a significant turning point in her life, as she set out to lose weight and adopt healthier habits. The journey hasn't been easy, but Rebel has been open about her experiences, sharing her workouts, healthy eating, and personal challenges with her fans. Her transparency has made her relatable and has inspired many others to embark on their own health journeys. Throughout her transformation, Rebel has remained true to herself, using her trademark humor to lighten the often daunting process of weight loss. She's shared funny anecdotes about her experiences in the gym and the occasional indulgence, reminding everyone that it's important to enjoy life while striving for better health. This balance of dedication and fun is a key aspect of her appeal. Rebel's impressive weight loss has been accompanied by a newfound confidence that radiates through her performances and public appearances. She's proven that health is not just about numbers on a scale, it's about feeling good in your own skin and being empowered to live your best life. Her journey serves as a powerful reminder that embracing a healthier lifestyle can be both rewarding and enjoyable. As she continues to thrive and inspire others with her story, Rebel Wilson's transformation is a testament to the idea that with hard work, humor, and a positive attitude, anyone can achieve their goals. Whether she's on stage making us laugh or sharing her journey on social media, Rebel is proof that it's possible to be fabulous at any size. And finally, at number 1, Jared Leto. Jared Leto is a true chameleon of the entertainment industry, known for his extreme transformations that leave audiences in awe. This talented actor and musician has taken method acting to unprecedented heights, consistently reinventing himself for various roles in ways that keep fans and critics alike guessing. Whether he's shedding pounds or packing on muscle, Leto's dedication to his craft is unparalleled. One of his most shocking transformations came when he portrayed the character of Rayon in Dallas Buyers Club, a role for which he lost an astonishing 30 pounds. Leto fully immersed himself in the character of a transgender woman battling AIDS, and his drastic weight loss showcased his commitment to authenticity. The transformation was so powerful that it earned him an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, solidifying his reputation as one of the most dedicated actors in Hollywood. But Jared doesn't just lose weight, he has also bulked up for roles, demonstrating his versatility as an actor, reflect the same intensity and dedication he brings to his acting roles. Whether he's performing in elaborate costumes or engaging his fans in a powerful message about resilience and self-expression, Jared continues to blur the lines between music and acting. Jared Leto's extreme transformations serve as a testament to his relentless pursuit of excellence and authenticity in every project he undertakes. His willingness to challenge himself physically and emotionally has made him one of the most unpredictable yet captivating figures in Hollywood. With every role, he not only transforms his body, but also showcases the depth of his talent, reminding us why he deserves the top spot on our list of surprising celebrity transformations. And that's a wrap. We've just explored 10 astonishing celebrity transformations that truly prove change is possible for everyone. From dramatic weight losses to stunning style evolutions, these stars have shown us the power of determination and self-discovery. Which transformation caught you off guard the most? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let us know. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button for more amazing content coming your way. Thank you for joining us today, and we can't wait to see you next time. Stay fabulous.